All right, gang, so just a quick heads up. Instead of doing what I've been promising for ages, which is to get around to that audiobook, instead I went ahead and compiled all 10 years of the Blue Skies writing that I did and put it together in a fucking book. You'll be able to find it in pretty much any of the marketplaces that Amazon has. It is literally every single word I ever wrote from that magazine, and it's all put together in nice book form. You can buy it in ebook, you can buy it in paperback, and believe it or not, you can even buy it in fucking hardback. Again, it's going to be available here really, really soon. This one not only includes all the articles that were in the first fucking pilot book, but about 60 more articles. It's got 350 or so pages of some pretty funny, inappropriate, and hopefully informative shit. So check it out.
Blue skies call. They seduce us, pulling us irresistibly upwards, reminding us to fly our own line, on our wings, and in life. We are the seekers, adventurers, being one with the air, feeling everything and nothing at once. That's the magic we chase. Follow the call. Find your pure, wild flight with NZ Aerosports.
Of course, I absolutely love the NZ Aerosports business model. I mean, come on. One glance at an Icarus fuck yeah sticker and you know it lines up perfectly with the fucking pilot mentality. But outside their wonderful use of colorful language and a great company vibe, there's a long list of reasons to say NZ Aerosports fuck yeah. NZ Aerosports blows me away right out of the gate as a canopy manufacturer with a bold offer. They give you 10 jumps on your brand new nylon to decide if you want to keep it, swap it out, or even return it for a refund. I mean, seriously, how incredible is that? That's like getting halfway through a prom and deciding you prefer the slightly racier date that goes down faster. Seriously, they do that. If you're not madly in love with your new canopy after 10 jumps, they'll let you swap it out for another size or model, or even get your money back. And the range of canopies they've got? Man, they've got a style canopy to fit every jumper and every situation with models you know and trust. Like the Sapphire 3, the perfect choice for the beginner or intermediate canopy pilot. The Crossfire 3, when you're ready to kick it up that elliptical notch. The JFX 2, if you're looking to up your new swoop game. The Leia as the workhorse and dirtwater dirt beast. Or the Petra. The Petra cranks out crazy power and is nothing short of a record breaker. But hey, it's not always about speed either. Take the Kraken. Built as a low pack volume canopy specifically with wingsuiting in mind, she gives you all the performance you're looking for with the reliability you need that'll have you itching for that next formation, rodeo, or puffy cloud. So, the equipment is top-of-the-line kick-ass stuff as you already know, but how about the team? Well, the customer service gang is there to sort you out whenever you need them. Maddie and Beto are always there to help with Jen holding the reins. They're available for you at sales@nzaerosports.com, and they've got a kick-ass live chat tool on the website if you're wanting to hit someone up right away. These are the crew you're going to want to talk to get those custom orders in. With the stock nylon, once you know what you want, they'll have that shit on a FedEx truck as soon as the credit card machine says approved and get you in the air in no time. For your custom orders, you'll be able to get a time frame for building and shipping when you design it, so get to it. And demos. They've got demos in the US available from their partner Rock Sky Market. The whole US demo fleet is there with Sapphire 3, Crossfire 3, Kraken, JFX2, and Leia canopies in a range of sizes. They also offer student and tandem demos in the US. Bottom line, every step of the way, NZ Aerosports is there to get you what you need, and I personally couldn't be happier to be teamed up with them here on Lunatic Fringe. And now, time to get started with Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, brought to you proudly by NZ Aerosports. Fuck yeah!
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! Back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, and we got a whole bunch of faces to talk to this time around, so let's just get it started and dive right in. Tell me, fellas, who the fuck are you guys and what do you do?
Hey, my name is Tim Miller. We are Monkey Claw Freefly. I would say we were, but we never actually officially split up, so I think technically we're all still married to each other. We're a skydiving team. Back in the 90s, we did a lot of jumping together, a lot of drinking, a lot of fun, and that's about it.
Cool. Who's next?
All right, I'll go next. This is Glenn Newman, a.k.a. Stuey. I don't think a whole lot of people back in the day knew my real name, which was probably a good thing. But yeah, I'm one of the founding members of Monkey Claw Freefly and with the other guys, and currently I'm running a construction company in Ocean County, and pretty inactive in skydiving. But back in the late 90s, early 2000s, we were pretty hardcore.
We were a pretty big deal. We were the best skydiving team of all Camden County, New Jersey.
Southern Williamstown, New Jersey, the best by far.
By far.
Yeah.
And this is Bert. Princess, you and I spoke about a month and a half ago.
We did.
We're in finance, also with Monkey Claw. Yeah, everybody knows who Quiet Guy is. We should just say it out loud. It's Jacko.
Yeah.
For those who grow up.
Blew his cover. But really psyched to be back here with the guys. Missed them all, but I get to see Stuey because I'm sitting right next to him. And Timmy, your hair is out of control, buddy. He looks like that little Bert head that we filled with lead and we used to use as a space ball and jump out. He looks Timmy, can you do a headstand? You'll look exactly like that fucking dog.
Yeah. So the funniest, the best part of that video was
video, we didn't have dozens of those.
so Princess, just real quickly, when Spaceballs were popular, we decided to fill a Bert doll with lead and jump with it.
Oh.
And no, it was Ernie. It was an Ernie doll.
It was an Ernie doll.
And you were trying to catch it, but it was spinning around.
Well, we started with just the Ernie doll with lead shot, but it was the whole doll, arms and legs and everything. And it was completely out of control. The simple fact that we never lost that thing is unbelievable. And then as the jumps went on, we're like, wait a second, we should try to streamline this thing. So it goes straight off of the thing. And eventually it was just a head with a pull-up cord. And it worked.
When you caught it, I remember you caught it the first time because we were doing, it was like the worst AFF student ever. It was spinning on its back. And all this sort of thing. You caught it and you're like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Under canopy, I was debriefing it. It's screaming at it.
Well, I love it. Well,
it was
so the best part for me.
When
and so what happens is those guys are playing with us, right? And they're showing on video and everything. And I come in and I had no idea what was going on. John just starts ripping into me. He's like, "Don't you ever do that again. I can't believe you guys did that. You didn't get permission." And I'm like, "Give me that. I saw on the video." Dude, I haven't been here all week. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, that was my introduction to Ernie.
and a solid kick in the teeth.
That's a little sampling for you.
I love it. Well, it's funny because when I showed up at Cross Keys in late 2003, Monkey Claw was already established as where all the shit went down. Like people living on the roof of the Monkey Claw team room, and if crazy shit was going to happen, it was going to be in and or around that team room, and that was well established by the time I got there.
Yeah, there was some nuttiness for sure.
A little bit.
There was a reputation there.
Yeah.
So how did all of you guys get started in Cross Keys, and how did Monkey Claw specifically get started? Where'd the idea come from?
It was so Jay Humphreys and I actually had it. We were jumping together, at Cross Keys. I met him there. I started jumping someplace else, and then at a small town a small drop zone in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. I started jumping there. Finished off down in Delmarva, Laurel, Delaware, and but both of those places, Morgantown kind of closed down. Delaware, the Laurel, Delaware place was just a little bit far from me. Keys was there, but they had a small landing area at the time. It was even much smaller than it is now. And so everybody warned me, don't go there. Oh my God, you're going to end up in the trees. And probably would have, considering my canopy skills and everything. But I ended up going there and meeting up with these guys. And I started doing free flying, practicing my free flying out there. I was working weird hours, like third shift type stuff. And so I would go out there, dead tired and just practice free flying, after I'd seen some groups on the ESPN games. They had it, and I saw it like Olaf and Mad Style and a lot of those guys out there. They was on the extreme games, and I thought that looked so cool.
Sure.
Out there to Cross Keys, I just did a whole bunch of solos. On the weekends, we started. Bert came out, and he had like miraculously learned how to free fly after 100 jumps with the Fly Boys. And so we all kind of started jumping together, and I think Bert actually was on a different team at the time with our friend Steve, right?
Was that Blackwater Tribe?
And they were kind of.
And Steve
yeah, that's right.
So that Steve fell off the cliff of the earth, right? Face of the earth right away.
We grabbed Stuey. Stuey joined Jay and I to start Monkey Claw, and I think those guys came with the name after a drunk night. I'll hand off to Stuey here, and he can probably, if he remembers, give us the particulars of the name.
So I remember, we would jump, not well, but we would jump quite a bit together and shoot our videos with our massive cameras. And then in the evening times, oftentimes in the beginning, go off site to drink. And we'd end up back at like Jay Humphrey's house and get a keg and slam that thing down. And I remember sitting around with Timmy and Jay back at the house, and whoever else would come over there, and we're just saying we should make a team and do this new free fly thing kind of, and just throwing names around. And Timmy and I were pretty big fans, and Jay of course were big fans of South Park, and talking about eating hot food and having the next day rehots, and the term monkey claw came out, and we're like, that's it. That is as simple as that. It's just like, we're Monkey Claw now, and it obviously it's stuck, and we just started using it. But to get the real reference of the team name and the meaning, you got to go back to South Park, and having a fiery ass.
And that's the way back one of South Park. I mean, for pretty much all of our generation of skydivers, it was bands like Sublime and shows like South Park that kind of put the exclamation point on that whole time, right?
Yes. And so for us, we would be jumping at Cross Keys and manifesting as Monkey Claw and traveling, just for fun. We weren't anything at the time, and to have anyone announce the name Monkey Claw, we were like a couple of schoolgirls giggling anytime someone said it. It was like they said a bad word, they said the pee-pee word, and we would just fall about ourselves laughing like Monkey Claw, because we were the only ones that knew what it really meant. It was a joke to us. The name was a joke. We weren't a joke, we were just having fun.
Sure.
But the name was really a joke, and it was awesome.
Well, but Cross Keys was kind of, especially by the time I showed up there, Cross Keys was kind of world famous at that time for a bunch of wild skydiving being done, but just a bunch of wild characters having a really good time. I mean, that kind of became what it was known for. And Monkey Claw did not slow that reputation down at all.
No, I mean, so, I came in, Jay had ended up moving the next year.
Right.
And I came in as the camera guy. And I remember the seminal moment for us was when we got our first sponsor, which was like a suit sponsor. Like, that was a big deal. Remember, we had our first, like, the kind rags, like pants.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, we all look the same. Like, this is awesome. Like, and then
I remember those were
there.
red, blue, and yellow, weren't they?
That's right. And in fact, I whipped out my old Monkey's Claw suit this weekend to go film a wingsuit jump. And I think half of the kids there thought I was wearing like a painter suit or something. Like they didn't understand what it was, right? And so,
well, you got to take a step back for a second. That was hot shit then, because people were wearing sit suits, like
with
Tony's
the
sit
wings.
suits.
Yeah.
So
with the inflatable wings, right? So
we were jumping technology.
I know that was technology
at the time.
And so, I mean, I came in the next year, and that was like our season where we started like actually looking coordinated. Like the World Wide Web was like in its infancy, and Timmy got a website going.
Yeah, right? Timmy got the website going, and we started racking up quote hits. And we would go to sponsors and be like, we got 100,000 hits, and Timmy would be like, that doesn't mean shit. It means I just clicked on a picture. It doesn't mean anything. And we would go sponsors, and they'd be like, holy crap, you got 40,000 hits. Oh my God, we're going to sponsor these people.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, Timmy,
their ignorance played into our sponsorships.
I mean, Timmy was like, you were the guy who really went out and got us all our initial sponsors. Like, I remember like I would show up to every weekend. I'm like, whoa, we got suits. That's awesome. And then the weekend after that, we get rigs and then helmets, and then we got canopies, and then we got altimeters. And when I came back to the sport, like, about 5 years ago, my first reaction was like, holy shit, gear's expensive, right? Like, we were spoiled, right? Like, we're getting 2 rigs a year, right? Yeah. 2 sets of canopies, all this sort of thing. And I think, we didn't really compete until like the 3rd year, right? Most of it was just boogie. We were doing boogie stuff and like stupid stuff at the drop zone, if I remember correctly.
We did nationals.
We did nationals
one year.
We took second in the exhibition year.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. And
so basically, Monkey Claw got sponsored to go around to different drop zones and fuck around as much as possible.
Pretty much.
And drink. Yeah. I mean, if that counts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't count drinking as fucking around. Drinking was serious business at the time.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I mean, I think
we were good at
part of our appeal, though. Yeah. We were top drinkers. But I think part of our appeal was, and people still tell me to this day, because my sister-in-law runs Skydive with Sebastian, Amanda, and Stu's picking his nose there.
No. Yeah.
He ate it too.
There you go. But she still tells us, she says, I wish we could get people who would come here and be good, good organizers and work with people and talk to people and be friendly and still hang out at night and not like appear or be like really elitist, and just talking to certain people. I mean, because we go out there, we drink with anybody. You bring us a beer, we'll drink with you. But we we talk, we debrief, we talk about different things. And she says she has a really hard time finding organizers who do that sort of thing still to this day. And is really friendly to everybody. I think that was one of the things that really kind of, I don't know if I wouldn't say it set us apart, but it set us apart. I mean, we hung out.
Sure.
Yeah, I think also what you're really saying, Timmy, is that we look like everybody else. Like we weren't like, we were just like average schmoes, hanging out and like, jumping and having fun. Right.
Yeah, and what Timmy's saying it wasn't something that we ever intentionally said, hey, we're gonna do this different. We're gonna go to these drop zones and we're gonna do it different. We knew that other organizers would jump, and then disappear at night. And just by the way our nature and what our personalities as individuals were, and then how we were as a group, that's just what we did. We didn't. Sure. It wasn't like a business model. We just.
Do you think coming from or coming up at a drop zone like Cross Keys that was such a social place played a part in how you guys were elsewhere? Yeah,
I think the community at Cross Keys in the mid to late 90s was generally social, because remember, you had the transplants from the herd, right, who came over and were like a foundational community. And then you had all of us go through student status. And, John had a really good, like, sort of system, where not a system, but just like a general community where we would all generally hang after beer light, was on. The crazy thing is, as much as we were super social, I am that guy who now ghosts every time the day is over.
Well, you're old.
right.
You got old.
Nobody wants to hang out with you anymore.
Exactly. Fuck you guys.
You're that old guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally. I mean, what John brought over with the herd was that mentality of of almost anything goes, and anything goes, you know, if you didn't get caught.
Yeah.
And even if somebody got hurt or whatever, but it was that mentality. So we kind of fell into that mentality, and there was also no smartphones.
Yeah.
There was, you know, if some asshole broke out a camera, that was one thing, but for the most part, a lot of shit that went on did not get recorded, and
which is damn good.
And that allowed for a little bit more latitude. And on the videos that you know a lot of people have seen, that's some of the stuff that got done.
Right.
You know, stealing a totem pole from a DZ in Florida and putting it in your RV and driving it all the way home and setting it up. That never made it to video, but that happened. Stuff like that.
Well, that's the great part about watching all the old videos, though, right? Is somebody had to sit down and go, yep, it's cool if other people see this, and then produce the video and put it out there. Whereas now, it's just absolutely everywhere. Shit that gets put out on the internet, oh my God. It would be horrifying, absolutely horrifying, but it wouldn't have been the same community if that had been possible. Thank fuck.
Yeah, and some of the flying skills that we were doing were, you know, I'm not saying we were innovators. I mean, maybe we did some things, but we were doing stuff that was kind of new. So the free flying stuff that we were doing was like, people would see that and be like, wow, you know, I want to do that.
No, I mean, and so in all honesty, no joking around. I was in Europe last week or 2 weeks ago, and I was in Luxfly, which is this tunnel in Luxembourg, and they have a skydiving museum. And in the museum, they had a bunch of old videos. And I was talking to Steve Braff about it, and he said, you know, we basically just tried stuff to see if it would work. Like 20 ways, 30 ways, early tracking jumps, tube jumps. Like, we have no idea what we were doing, right? Everything is like super planned now. Like, you watch the big ways where they're very slot specific, and it's like, you know, they get on their knees and they walk it out 7 times. I think our version of like dirt diving big waves is like, hey, you dock on Timmy, like find out where he is in the sky, and then let's see if we can do it, right? And if it blew up, we all kind of laughed at each other and then just kept going, right? We probably weren't the safest bunch out there, but you know, it was worth trying once.
You think?
Right.
Yeah,
and I think as we went on and they started doing the Project Horizon stuff, which lasted a couple of years, and it started to, I think that was really the growth of more technical, heads down, feet up, flying, and the free flying that you're seeing now, I think was kind of born in those days with Storm Dunker and Dave Donnelly and some of our friends really putting this stuff together and inviting us out to participate in these things, where they weren't just, you know, originally a big wave was 20 people within, 20 feet of each other, and that's per person. So, you know, it could be around like a 200 foot circle, 20 people, and that was a big way, you know. And as we started to grow and we started to get, you know, do some 4-way type stuff and get more organized, I think that was really kind of the genesis of what we have now is with the sequential work. You know, they don't do as much artistic stuff anymore. They do a lot more technical and more sequential. And, you know, it's fun to watch. It's fun to see. It's nice that the tunnels are there now, that people can participate and learn, you know, in a safer environment, aside from the walls hitting you occasionally. But I think it's really grown a lot with that, the whole idea of free flying.
Sure. Well, and you guys must have known that you were kind of making your mark when all the big names started coming to Cross Keys. Because, let's face it, Williamstown is... would you ever go to Williamstown, New Jersey, if you weren't either from there or a skydiver? And all of a sudden, you've got Omar Al-Hijlan and Olav Zipser, and all these amazing people are showing up at Cross Keys because of some of the stuff that you guys were doing. So maybe not innovative, but certainly catching attention.
Well, they did have a free fly school there with an Olav school there before we started. And in all fairness, I mean, they did get
one season.
They did get it started with Mike Swanson and those guys, but it wasn't ready yet.
Right.
It just there wasn't the marketplace, so to speak, for the free flying yet, and and to pay the money for instruction stuff. It wasn't there yet. So as anything is in life, timing is huge too. To have the influence and the latitude that like a John Eddowes and that herd mentality would have, and us knuckleheads coming up saying, let's throw ourselves out of an airplane and see if we can stay in the same vicinity of each other in this new thing called free flying. It was a lot of timing,
sure,
and our young energy and willing to stick around and drink beer all night. Brought the guests to the party.
I mean, my favorite memory of that summer, 97, 98, when we all started, was that they were absolute zoo dives, every free fly jump. So it wasn't uncommon. And when all the new PC1 cameras came out, so we switched from the high 8 cameras on top of our heads to the PC1 that you can wear on the side of your head. And it's like, whoa, dude, this is like state of the art. We can align it with our eyes and it can see where we're.
Is my red light on?
Is my red light on? Right? And so, but every jump was like a zoo dive. So it wasn't uncommon for like we would be doing a 2-way and you'd look off in the distance and Moises is doing a helicopter like about 100 feet away, and then 2 people are like randomly trying to like sit fly over in the distance, and we started off exiting as like a 4-way, right, or a 5-way, and somehow we all survived, right? Like
we had our basic rules and stuff of sort of not kill each other, but you're right, it was mayhem. When you got a point, and then it went to hell. Yeah, right. And then it blew up. Legs in a star, we'll turn 180 and use the other hand. And that was the end of the dive. And then everyone did their own thing. And when all else fails, go to your back. Don't cork and kill somebody. And track hard.
Yeah, right.
But we did have each other's backs, and we did learn from our experiences, and somehow we're still alive.
I know, it's so dumb.
It's remarkable.
Well, and by the time my generation of Cross Keys people kicked in, it was already very well established. The way the drop zone was set up was established. John had built one hell of a facility, and the operation was, I mean, it's the thing of legend at this point. So looking back, especially now, I know Bert, we talked quite a bit about John in our podcast before, but he built a drop zone that, quite frankly, sparked the passion for a lot of people in skydiving and some really insane experiences. So tell me a little bit about how you guys felt about Cross Keys and John and the kind of opportunities he gave.
It was awesome. Yeah, he built a great community. When I started going out there, I can't remember what year it was, but I had maybe 50 jumps or something like that, and it was nice. To me, like all drop zones, Del Mar was similar. You hang out at night, people were camping in tents and stuff, but it wasn't the same atmosphere. Maybe it was just the age of the people. Or, as people get older, they have families, and a lot of them like to go home to their family. Some don't, but most of them do, so, they wouldn't hang out as much, and the people would camp in, sit around the campfire. Cross Keys was that on steroids and whiskey. I mean, you'd hang out, but there'd be a big bonfire, people running around, doing some crazy stuff, but having fun. It was I wouldn't say it wasn't dangerous, but at the same time, it was, for the most part, it was safe. If you didn't want to partake, you could just hang out and watch, or you could go to a different part of the drop zone and just sit around and chat. So, they had it all going on. So I was a great atmosphere. And sometimes John would, especially in the early days, he'd hang out with us, and have fun with everybody. And so it was just a great atmosphere.
Sure.
Yeah, John developed this drop zone coming from the herd, and you can't stress that enough, that almost anything goes. Better to ask for forgiveness than permission kind of mentality. And it was, if it meant that it was going to be a good time, and if it meant that there was going to be some marketability of this, it was let's just do it. When that kid Kennedy wanted to light himself on fire, and he went to Eddowes and said, can I light myself on fire? And he's like, at the whatever,
at the monkey jam,
at the monkey claw free fly jam, one of our boogies, and John's like, I don't give a shit what you do. It's not my boogie. It's monkey claws. Go talk to Stuey. And it came to me, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, he came to me too. I was like, you do whatever you want, man.
I was like, I don't give a shit what you do. Just don't kill yourself. But it was that laissez-faire attitude. And hey, if it got a laugh, and if it meant that tomorrow more people are going to come to the drop zone, have at it.
Yeah, and John was really good about like making sure, like, as we hung out more, he took a particular pride in just that student program and those students staying and becoming part of the community. And like some of our, like Doug Urbany and Janice, right? Like they were our students, and they went through AFF, and they became like a really core part of the community. I mean, Ronnie C, Ron Ciarmello, Schmucker, right? Like everybody shows up, right? Like they became instantly part of the community. And John was really great about making sure that, the students felt that they had a place immediately. Like there was no real like division or cliques between anybody. We were all just sort of hanging out,
Sure. Well, John also was the one that would stoke the fires on a lot of the after hours fucking shit that went down. Half of that was him giving somebody the keys to something and seeing what's going to happen.
Yeah, he would do that. He would totally do that. You're right. But you'd never know that the keys came from him.
No.
It was like a perfect spy mission. You could never trace it. It was this insulated somehow. When you got Johnny Nine Lives jumping off the 100-foot ladder truck, burning cars and all that other stuff, you were never going to trace that back to John.
No.
If Kennedy had gotten hurt lighting himself on fire, he would have been like,
Stewie said it was okay.
The monkey claw said it was okay.
Yeah, right.
And I would have been like, we're a limited liability company. We don't know what you're talking about. We got no assets.
That's right. Everybody working for Cross Keys had to get an LLC so that all of our stupid shit was on our own shoulders.
100%.
John was a phenomenally intelligent person in a lot of levels.
Yep. He definitely, there were a couple of times that he just made me outright laugh. He had taught me on a load he was jumping how to fuck with the Twin Otter's trim, just to annoy the pilot. You just reach over and tweak the rudder trim a little bit. And 2 loads after he teaches me how to do this, of course, I'm sitting all the way up front, and I'm fucking with the rudder trim, and the pilot, unbeknownst to me, was getting pretty shook by it, and thought that someone in the back was grabbing controls and moving shit. So he kicked the tail so hard he almost knocked one of the camera flyers out of the plane. John fired his ass the minute he got on the ground, came over to me and went, "Were you fucking with the rudder?" "Yeah, John." And I'm thinking I'm the next one to go. He pats me on the back, hands me a beer, and says, "Good job. I don't need that kind of guy anyway." Walks away, and I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Well, he had Johnny Nine Lives drive the Bobcat through the vinyl fence in front of the drop zone, just to see how the drop zone manager would react. He wanted to see how we would handle that situation.
And all he had was Selwyn laughing his ass off.
And that's on video. But that was a I wouldn't say a planned event, but he wanted to see how the manager would react. And so
I mean,
anyway.
You gotta love it. I got caught by John squatting in one of his trailers because John O'Gordon and Jacko set the trailer on fire when I was in it. And I came out the door to put the fire out, and John was there going, "You're living in my trailer. Huh, we're going to have to talk about rent," and then smiles and walks away.
Sounds about right.
Yep, that was John. So what are some of the most memorable times you have?
The pot.
Both from Cross Keys and from Monkey Claw, what are like the biggest outstanding memories you guys have?
That's a tough one. I mean, we had so much fun.
Yeah, go ahead, Timmy. You start.
I mean, we had even on the shit days, right? I mean, some would claim that every time we had a jam, the weather would be shit. But I remember one day that was actually nice. But we had, I mean, I can't think of like a single thing that was like, oh, that was the best thing that ever. That was. I mean, I think it was. We look forward to going there every day or waking up there in the morning. You know, jumping our asses off. Everything from working with students and new jumpers to going out and trying to do a complicated 4-way or taking out both otters or the otter in the caravan or the sky van and trying to get 30 people in the sky together with close proximity. I mean, that was before we were doing huge 20-way docks and stuff. But just being close and looking around and everybody just being chill and using their skills to the best of their ability. And I mean, everything was great. And for the team itself, the travels, we did Puerto Rico, we did World Free Fall Convention in Quincy. Had a great time up in Montana for the book out there. I can't remember what it's called now. Lost Prairie, that's it. And we had the cross country at Lost Prairie. They'd let us out way up the valley. We'd open up and drink a beer on the way down, or so it's alleged. And then it was everything. I don't think there was a bad time there. And Cross Keys itself, even when John got mad at me, I feel like I was sometimes the whipping boy because he couldn't yell at Stuey. And I know Bert feels like he was a whipping boy too, but yeah.
He would yell at me. I know he would yell at me more because I was fambling, that was the dirty secret, was like I got the brunt of the shit and I just like kept quiet because I was staying at his house, right? So I didn't want to trump the card of like being able to walk from John's air conditioned basement to the drop sign while you guys were sweating your ass off in the trailer, so he would yell at me most of the time and I'd be like, okay, sorry. I mean, yeah, for me, it was really just the travel. Like for me, the favorite memories are, you knew that when we had an event or when we traveled, that we would have a good time, whether we were jumping or not. And most people came to the Monkey Jam fully expecting not to jump, Princess, because we had a track record of like, I think 3 or 4 years in a row where it rained every fucking time we tried to do a boogie. But people would show up. People would come from Orange. And they would, we did the whole contingent from Orange come and like all the guys from like Lebanon, and they would come principally because we would just like, they were wanting to see what would happen.
Love it.
We had like the mechanical bull one year. We did the sumo suit wrestling. We had that like,
holy shit, that thing.
That twirly thing.
It was, big twirly thing with a rope. And
right. And we put my brother-in-law on it, and John ran up. He's like, "Is that Mike on the thing?" Right? And Mike was locked in, and John started pulling on it so hard that Mike started doing rotations, and he was probably pulling like 3 or 4 Gs. And John wouldn't stop. He just kept doing it. And Mike's like, "I'm gonna throw up," and John's like kept going, and you hear Mike like dry heaving. like that's the sort of shit that like that would happen, right? Just despite all the boogies and everything else. Like, Sandy Reed sent me an email the other day, Sandy with Rigging Innovations. He's like, tell the guys about bananas, right? He's like, tell the story about bananas, right? From Lost Prairie, because people just love like, hanging out with us.
The bananas. Let's hear the banana story.
Cooking the bananas.
Yeah. So his wife we would stay at his house at Lost Prairie. This was year after year after year, and she'd make us breakfast because we were like employees, so to speak. We were there to work the boogie, and in the morning she would make breakfast, and she would take the bacon grease and cook bananas in it afterwards. It was phenomenal. I still occasionally do that to this day. My family's like, that's gross. I'm like, it's bacon. How can it be gross? It's awesome. But But yeah, for me, I got to say ditto. It's hard to pinpoint any one thing. The vibe of Cross Keys over all those years was just awesome. There's no way to describe it. There's just no one thing. It would take volumes and volumes and days of just all the little things that we did or participated in or saw or instigated or whatever. It was just a phenomenal experience. I did, and we keep coming back to John Eddowes and whatnot, or maybe I do. I mean, he would do stuff like he paid for a couple of us to fly out to England to go to the BPA meeting, their big banquet thing, just to raise hell. And if we said the words Skydive Cross Keys, 1-800-SKYDIVE or whatever the phone number was at the time, and threw that in there a few times, that was a win. Stuff like that. But certainly the traveling with the guys, going to Montana and to Florida and to Texas and to Georgia and to Maine and to Virginia. And then to have those people from Tennessee or Kentucky, I'm sorry, and come to see us. It's like, you came to see us? You came all this way to hang out with us? Oh, we're going to have a good time. It was like an appreciation. It was an appreciation of you're willing to drive across the country to come hang out with us on a shitty rainy weekend and probably not jump. Oh, it's on. We're gonna have a good time.
So I have two distinct memories of what we were notorious for. One was we wrecked a bunch of rental cars at every nationals. So we would rent the rental car and pay the extra insurance. And Timmy would drive it down the back road going up to Paris and then basically implant it into a tree. And we also, I think we wrecked one other rental car where we basically took all the drops on trash and deposited it on top of the rental car one night.
That was, there might have been that, but there was down in Puerto Rico where they lost the transmission by shifting it into drive while in full reverse, and then parked it in front of wherever we were staying and completely covered it in garbage.
Yeah. So
the joke, and Timmy, this is what the joke was the other day. That's why you never were the one that put it on your credit card.
Jimmy always put it on his credit card.
Whoever was the new guy, the new person on that trip. Oh, we'll get them to put it on their credit card because we knew by the end of the trip the car was done. So Timmy banged up the front bumper of one of the cars, and then when we returned, it made sure to park it 1 inch away from the car in front of it so they couldn't see it.
And I also remember a big thing we would do is we would fuck with all the other Cross Keys guys who were at nationals and trying to take it too seriously. Remember Dave Briggs? Dave was trying to qualify for the World Games in sky surfing, and because he just came off his X Games season, and we found out which room number he was in. And we were walking around the drop zone saying there's a party in room 238 tonight. Right? And Dave's like, I gotta sleep. We would be on the airplane, and I would just start whistling the Andy Griffith Show theme song, just to mess with other people, because we didn't give a shit. It didn't matter if we came in first place, not last, baby.
Not last. It didn't matter. We were there for a good time.
Masters of psychological warfare. That's what we were.
It was on. And if you couldn't hang, well, screw you. That's your problem, not ours.
If your goal in competition is as basic as not last place, you got a pretty wide open fucking playing field. That's pretty good.
Worked for us.
We always won.
Look at all these trophies.
The trophy room.
So now, who is still jumping? I think Stuey, you said you're not jumping anymore.
Yeah, I kind of bailed out. I started a family and that whole excuse, but I was actually also in a fair amount of pain. My back was pretty bad for a long time. And it just to me, I wasn't staying current enough. And it just, for me, it was again timing. It just seemed like the right time to move on to other things, which I have.
Sure. Tim, how about you? Are you jumping?
No, I occasionally go to the wind tunnel. I do have a recurrency date coming up though to jump. So I'm
when Bert just sat straight up.
my son told me that he wants me to get current so I can jump with him. He's 6 right now, so in 11 years or 12 years, I'll be getting current so I can jump with him. He's really excited about it. I'm in Z Hills right now. I still hang out. I know a lot at the stuff I told you. My sister-in-law runs Skydive Sebastian. I'm a pilot, so I'll fly down to I live in Sedona, Arizona now, and so I'll fly down to Eloy and chat with some of the guys, some of the old timers and stuff that I know. Jason Peters and some of those guys. We'll just shoot the shit for a little bit and maybe get in the tunnel a little bit and stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm more into flying and do some other activities and stuff. So, but I haven't jumped in. I think my last jump was with Bert, and that's probably why it was my last.
It's
jump.
funny because we kind of just we didn't to Timmy's point. We didn't officially break up. We just kind of stopped showing up collectively all at the same time.
Yeah.
We went to Quincy. We did that last nationals in Chicago. And then the next season, I think I maybe did 10 jumps, and we didn't even have a conversation about it. We just we all knew
it was time. It was time. Yeah,
right?
I know. For me, one of the final things that kind of pushed me over the edge was I had a fun jump with Ron Sarma.
Yeah.
And I had that same weekend I had a student jump with Sarah Loge.
Oh, Sister Sarah.
Yes, Sister Sarah and Ron. Those were the last 2 jumps I ever made.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the next weekend they had a canopy entanglement and both died.
Yeah, that anniversary was
and
just
so
last
my
weekend.
last student and my last fun jump, they were both gone. And I was like, oh shit. If I'm looking for a sign, maybe that's it.
Man, I'll tell you what, I was jumping, chucking drogues down in Wildwood. I was doing the boogie when that happened, and Sarah was a good friend. I didn't really know Ron that well, but Sarah was a good friend, and I don't think I've ever been kicked quite that hard. That was fucking brutal. And John had begged the staff that was down there, because we had so many people booked to do the tandems. He's like, please, you guys got to keep jumping. And having to do a tandem an hour after I found out that Sarah and Ron went in, man, oh man, that was tough. And Cross Keys, I mean, I hate to say it, for all the wonderful things, Cross Keys had a lot of shit go down, man. There was a lot of really sad stuff as well as a lot of really wonderful stuff. So, yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, I think it's just a function of that they became another big drop zone. Unfortunately, as you have the numbers, you're going to statistically have the accidents. And
sure,
I think at the time in the heyday, it was basically Eloy, Paris, Sebastian, and Cross Keys. Just pure volume. And just statistically, that's bound to happen. I mean, you guys all know this. I came at the jumping 5 years ago just because Sophia, if you remember Sophia running around the drop zone as a 2-year-old, she wanted to do a tandem. And I was like, I got to figure out if there are any jackos left at the drop zone so that they don't pick up my water, And so that was step number 1, right? And I'm still current. We had the 4th of July boogie this past week, and I jumped a bunch. But they had, I'm sort of doing a player coach thing with a new team, called the CK Syndicate. And what I told the new drop zone owners, I said, you need a generation of people who went through your student program to be your next generation ambassadors. So not that we could ever try to recreate the monkey claw experience, but I pulled together a bunch of folks that at the time all had under 1,000 jumps, and they do free fly coaching, free fly organizing. The parties aren't quite the same. They don't travel as much, but and I ghost at before beer lights on just because I'm old, right? But it's a start, right? And funny enough, when I reach out to all the sponsors, so we're sponsored by Julio at Liquid Sky, we're sponsored by Sunpath, through Sandy, because Sandy merged Rigging Innovations with Sunpath. The first thing I reference is the old monkey claw days, and people recognize it right away.
Oh yeah. Well, the huge benefit to skydiving, whether you're jumping or not, is the community of skydiving never goes anywhere. Once a skydiver, always a skydiver, whether you ever put a rig on again or not, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And so there's still a bunch of our old photos hanging around in the lounge, right? sunset. There's a really nice picture of us after one of our sunset jumps, just all hanging out, and they're doing a flyby overhead, and people ask me, like, who's that? And I'm like, that guy's old. Oh, that was me. So yeah, that guy's old. That guy's old too. Right. So that's what happens.
That's awesome though. Well, and so it was your daughter was the spur to get you back in the air.
Yeah, and like I'm, yes, 100%. And like I was jumping out when I saw you a couple months ago. For me, it's like a mini reunion every time I go to a drop zone because I get to see old friends. And
sure,
Timmy's, you're at Z Hills right now. You should push up that currency thing. I saw your picture. You saw Jeannie and Kurt Bartholomew do a demo, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they have their AFF ratings. So you could probably done. If it was 1997, you would have done the demo anyway. So even being like,
yeah, well, hell, right. We used to,
yeah.
Cross Keys had the golf course demo every Friday.
Yeah, we landed off again at sunset on a Friday. Oh, you have a bar here? I had no idea. No idea.
Yep.
And that was all fine as long as you were respectful to the facilities and the players and whatnot. And we tried to be.
You remember we did that demo
and you'd come screaming by going, "Can I play through?"
Yeah. Do you remember we did that demo in like Lower Merion and that country club kid gave you a bunch of crap for not letting?
I was just thinking about that. That's not very good, are you?
Exactly.
Tell Princess that story.
So we had done a demo into a private event, and they put that big X on the ground and land here kind of thing, and
right.
Everybody landed fine. It was all good. I landed, I don't know, maybe 50 feet from the X or whatever, perfectly fine, well within the appropriate landing area. And the little kids come over, and we were doing the crowd thing, high five and whatnot. And one little shit says to me, the X over there, what's that mean? I was like, well, that's the target we're supposed to land. He goes, so you're supposed to land on the target? I said, well, yeah, you're supposed to land on the target. He goes, and you didn't land on the target? I said, no, but I landed safely near the target. He goes, well, I guess you're just not that good, are you? And this was like a 9 or 10-year-old little shit. I was like, I just jumped into your event for free. You don't even have funnel cake here, you little bastard.
Oh no.
That was the go-to when we jumped into Rotorfest and stuff. John would be like, you want to jump into this event? You're gonna jump smoke, you're gonna jump an enormous flag, life-threateningly huge American flag. You're gonna have these sport aerobatic planes circling way too close to you. You want to do it? And Timmy and I would look at each other. We're like, do they have funnel cake? They're like, yeah, they'll probably have a funnel cake trailer there. Oh, we're in. We'll jump for funnel cake.
Fucking gotta love it. Well, I got roped into doing a demo by John into what's the stadium on the Jersey side of the bridge, the minor league baseball stadium.
Oh, that I know what you're talking about. It's in Camden. It's
the Camden Stadium, and they were doing a big birthday party baseball event for Donovan McNabb's birthday, and they ended up not getting the jumpers that they thought. So literally last minute, he had me put on a 210, show him that I could land near the P pits, and the next thing you know, I'm jumping out of the 206 somewhere over fucking Camden, going, oh, never done a stadium jump before, no idea how this shit's supposed to work, and the drop zone manager at the time, who I'll leave out of it just so we don't say his name, overshot and slammed into the backstop of the baseball time. But again, it was all just, yeah, fucking go do this. Look at you guys trying to figure out who it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think I know who it is.
Was he wrestling D'Alessio in one of the Monkey Club videos in one of the team rooms?
What's your rhyme with?
Yeah, French kissing your dog.
And French kissing your dog.
It's a great breakfast. It's a popular breakfast around the world.
Oh.
And we'll just leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
So, advice now as we get towards the end of the podcast. Two of you guys don't jump anymore, obviously for family reasons and such. Advice to people that have gotten out of the sport and might be thinking about getting back in. You know, Tim, sometime within your time frame of the next 11 years of getting current. what advice you give to people if they're trying to decide, fuck, I don't know if I should be jumping anymore. What are the things they should be taking into consideration if it might be time to stop? And Bert, for you, what should people be thinking about if it's time to get recurrent?
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's just, it depends on how much of your life, it really takes over a lot if you let it, or if you want it to. You get some people show up to the drop zone and they really haven't been involved with anything, or they're in transition. Maybe they were into, sports or something when they were in high school or college. And then after that, they're looking for an activity to be involved in, or some people just want to go out and make a jump or two, and not let it be the main focus of their life. And I think part of it is just, one of the things you learn, especially after you've drank as much beer as we have, is that all things in moderation, so like, you drink a lot and then you cut back eventually. And same thing with jumping. We used to, when we were training, and coaching and organizing, we would do like 25 jumps a day. We'd have 2 rigs, we'd do 2 back-to-backs, and then we'd come down and pack both our rigs in like 10 minutes. Luckily, we didn't care how it opened as long as it opened, and so it's just one of those things. Sometimes I think I'd like to go back and make a jump or two. There's a lot involved with doing that. Obviously I could grab a rig and jump, but it wouldn't be legal at all because it hasn't been packed in more than 90 days or whatever it is.
Never stopped.
My Cypress one is probably not even supported anymore, but so there's some logistical issues there that are also required. But if I really wanted to take the time to do it, and I had the time, I would, I could go out, get a pack, and go make a couple jumps a day, and not be like I have to load after load after load and do this and that. And just go out, have some fun, and go home.
Sure.
And Bert probably is a better person to talk about this.
I mean, so 100%. So Tim, I think as I sort of say this to people now, I value quality over quantity, right? And I am perfectly satisfied showing up to the drop zone and doing 2 jumps, and just sort of being in that moment where I can, still skydive, still know that, the skills are rusty, but I'm relatively safe. And I think, one thing that's happened since we sort of fell off the face of the earth, and then, when I reemerged, his gear has just gotten, exponentially safer. And the training around students is safer, right? Like we were jumping old analog altimeters. Everything is digital these days, from the altimeter to your Audible to they have, fly sites and all these devices that show your canopy progression. Like when we were learning how to like swoop, we just kind of buried a riser and hoped we survived, right? And now there's all this like real instructional methods around that. So generationally, I think last year they said it was the first year in a long time there was 0 fatalities in all of skydiving across USPA. And I attribute a lot of that just to education is better. And I think for us who are coming back to this sport, like I would say the more experience I became, the more conservative I got. So now like they're when they talk about A license, B license wind holds, and I think about the time when we were in Eloy and I was going backwards under my cross, my canopy, like I don't even jump when we're on a student wind hold, I think, and the last part of it is what Timmy said, like, don't be defined by skydiving. I think it's a quick way to get burned out. Like I tell this new group that I'm working with, I said, guys, like, look, if you want to be a competitive team and sit there and fight for the last second point, then you coming out of Eloy or Chicago, train for that one extra point. And some people, that's their prerogative, and that's how they want to spend their time, and more power to them. But like, it's a quick way to get burned out, know? And so I think that's generally, I am generally impressed with just the amount of training that goes on now versus experimentation. Everything has a method. Everything is
fairly well taught, and I think the experience of us not killing ourselves has certainly helped this generation.
Does sleeping in the mock-up count as training?
Nobody sleeps in the mock-up anymore. Everyone's complaining that they had three caravans at Cross Keys this weekend, and one of them was slow.
What's slow?
I don't know. It took 15 minutes to get to altitude. I'm like, man, I could take a nap. This is great. This is perfect. That's a lost art of taking a nap in between loads.
Yeah.
But
Stuey, how about you?
But I would love for all of us to get current just once and just do a big fat round. You can do a tandem, Stuey.
Fuck you. That's the worst thing you've ever said to me my whole life. Wow.
Love it.
What was the question again?
Oh no.
No, for me, I think the question was when it may have been related to when maybe the time to hang it up.
Yeah.
For me, it was that Ron and Sarah moment was not the decision maker, but it was okay. This is the time, the final thing. But for me, I wasn't staying current enough.
Yeah.
And it's one thing. This is a personal thing. This isn't so much, hey, this is when you should hang it up. But for me, when I was still doing instructional jumps and still doing organizer loads and being invited to go to boogies and stuff, and I knew in my heart I just wasn't current enough to deliver the goods in the safest manner possible and to be as effective as possible, but just simply because I wasn't staying as current as necessary. And it was still jumping a fair amount, but it wasn't enough. That's when I knew for me it was like I can't do it. And it leads back to getting pretty screwed up for a long time. And maybe that had to do with it. Maybe it didn't. But, I never so much as twisted an ankle in all the jumps that I made. But it just kind of wore on me. So for me, when I wasn't staying current and I was in a fair amount of pain, and I was just like, I'm ready for the next phase.
Sure.
I'm ready to do the next thing. And I miss it. I mean, I miss the camaraderie. I'm not drunk. I promise, Timmy. I miss that the most, the travel, the camaraderie and that good stuff. And the jumping was awesome for sure. But when you're ready to move on to other things, and other things are going to fulfill your life and provide you with happiness and other camaraderie. And for me anyway, that was the time.
Sure.
So the dirty secret about our canopies in your back. When I came back to the sport, the first thing I did was I took the serial numbers from our canopies and I emailed NZ Aerosports. And I said, hey, I was a former sponsored athlete. We have all these canopies. Just curious, are these things still okay? And who answers the email but Lauren Demi? And she's like, I know you guys. By the way, send me those canopies right now. We deemed them unairworthy after the first 2 years of production run. And I was like, what the fuck? We put 2,000 jumps on these things.
I could have told you that. The way we flew them, they were unairworthy.
And I was like, you rounded this entire line, right?
We were doing crew with those things.
Right. So trash packing and not caring how it opened, probably, and the fact that they were unairworthy probably exacerbated your back.
that and drunk blindfolded packing races while other people are putting shoes in your container.
Yeah,
to complicate matters. Different time. Kids out there, don't do that.
Yeah.
And Timmy, I'll still sign off on your reserve if you want me to repack it. The kids, don't do that either. How many times would we show up to an event that we're working and our reserves would be out of date? We'd be like, oh, fuck, give me a moment. Went into the other room. You got a pencil?
Best one I ever saw was Mark Cruzy walking up to a Manifest desk, hands over his reserve card. It's uncurrent. He said, oh, yeah, give that back. Literally standing there, signs his reserve card and hands it back to him. And they're like, you can't do that. He's like, yeah, I'm the rigger. I just forgot to do it earlier. Here you go. And they're like, fuck. It was beautiful. Greatest thing I'd ever seen. Greatest thing. Gentlemen, I got to thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's early on your side of the world to shit and shoot the shit. It's always fun to talk about some of the stories of how people got into stuff, but especially when it's groups like Monkey Claw and people that were pretty instrumental in a place that was as crazy and as fun as Cross Keys. So I got to thank you very much.
So before we shut down, don't forget, there's other members of Monkey Claw, the Jay Humphreys, the Adam Rose, and huge participants. Heath Richardson, just these Damo, and these guys were they were right there with us. It wasn't Timmy, Bert, Stuey. These other guys were.
Sure.
Away. So I don't want this, podcast to go by and talking about the roots and shenanigans of Monkey Claw without throwing Jay Humphreys and Adam Rosen under the bus and Heath as well. Yeah.
Otherwise, we never could have done the whole. I think we got one. Activity. And yeah, I mean, so I heard, and this is kind of a good anecdote to leave off on because apparently there were a few people walking around Quincy with a balloon launcher, was it? Narration. And so these people were walking around. I don't know if I remember who it was or not, but they were walking around with a balloon launcher and launching balloons like people do, at Quincy. They're having fun. And apparently one of the launched balloons ended up hitting an officer of the law squarely in the face. And these people, totally, the narration was being done in classic crocodile hunter, who's that guy, style. And so, we're sitting there, they're sitting there, and the balloon gets launched and smacked right in the face. And everybody just drops down, and all you hear is, "Oh, I think we got one." And then all these people run. Yep. I think, who was it, Dick Gazinia and somebody else, right? I can't remember the exact names.
There's still a warrant out for them.
In Quincy.
Yeah. For the record, that wasn't the only person that got hit with a water balloon from that launcher.
Just the most memorable.
It's one of the top three.
Awesome. I love it. I love the fact that Stuey, your head goes straight to your hands as soon as he said water balloon.
You'll be like this.
All right, guys. Once again, man, it was a real trip. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bertes, for hosting us. And,
thank you.
The Monkey Claw website is still alive, so if you can give us more than 100,000 hits,
what is
maybe,
it?
Put
it out there. What is
monkeyclaw.com.
Monkeyclaw.com. All right.
Monkeyclaw.com. I'm just about to update it. Yeah, I'm going to update. I forgot to update it last week.
Is that
you forgot to update it last decade and the decade before?
You're going to update that right after you get current?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Pictures of my son.
Perfect. All right, guys, we'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there you have it. Another episode of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, brought to you as always by, and say it with me, fuck yeah, NZ Aerosports. Head to nzaerosports.com. By Pussfoot. That's right. Head to pussfoot.com, the extreme sports collective, and check out everything they've got to offer. By summitparachutesystems.com. Jarrett Martin and the family cranking out amazing pilot rigs, as well as incredible rigging courses. And now joining the Lunatic team, it's the one and only Tony Suits. You know him, you love him. Head to tonysuit.com. Check out all the amazing standards, as well as the new incredible signature line they've got going on. And as for us, the Lunatic Fringe is now on YouTube. That's right, you're going to have the chance to put faces to the audio by heading to youtube.com and looking up the Lunatic Fringe podcast. It's easy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out all the amazing videos from the previous guests that we've had, as well as new and upcoming interviews on video. As always, I am the fucking pilot. Head to thefuckingpilot.net or theprincesspilot.com. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time around.
Peace.